Today's block, by the way, is Lamed. So we are Rabbi Yochanan, which is the asterisk, right? The third asterisk on the page. Third asterisk on the page. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines above the Mishnah. Now this is talking about this is going back to the Mishnah. It's actually a new issue, and it's talking about why there were 4 payosos in the Mishkan, in the Beis HaMikdash. Why did it payos 4 times? So the reason is because it's pumpi padover. Pumpi is the same thing as the Hebrew word. It's obviously not Hebrew. The Greek or Roman word pumpi, which means public. So it means in order to publicize the avoda, they did lots of payosos because that way a lot of Kohanim would come. Tamati, we learned over there, that the interesting thing, Bob doesn't bring this down as far as I recall, although it says here, Talmud Paragimel, it says, I think it's right? Oh, sorry. Rabbi said, well, actually, there's a word missing, obviously. It's Rabbi something, we don't know what it is. But Rabbi said, V'lo koin, Abadashis HaMizbeach, the koin who did Disha Mizbeach HaPnimi, who cleared the ash from the Mizbeach HaPnimi, the Yochel Adashis HaMenorah, it would be the same one to clear the ash menorah. So why we do is 2 separate things. El Lasos Pumpi Ladover, the same idea to publicize the matter. Tabati learned over there, Yecha Kuza Mailo Shnia, the guy who did the Dishon Mizbeach HaPnimi of the first candles, the first 5, would leave the jug containing the refuse from the candles on the second step. There are 3 steps in front of the menorah. And he would leave. Then this guy would come in to do the next 2 candles. He would take the kuz, the same jug. He would take him in the second step, and he would go out. And that too, why do we split the Neiros in 2 in such a manner? Not splitting the Neiros in 2 is there's a custom. Why do we leave the jug there? And also again for this publicity issue. Why did they go into Ketores 2 times? This story about every day they did the Dishun Mizbeach HaPnimi, and then later on they did the Ketores. Why couldn't they just do the Dishun and the Ketores together at the same time? Somebody did to publicize the avodah. No, it's a Dvar Torah that you should separate the Ketores in 2 as it says Baboker Beitivosin. So we say, what does Baboker mean? Baboker means 2 Bekurim, but it's split the avodah in 2. Says Gemara, Mavli Rabbi Yochanan. So what does Rabbi Yochanan do? Rabbi Yochanan said they split in 2, the cleaning and the doing of the Ketores in order to make a pumpi. So what does he do with the pasuk? It says Baboker. He says, oh, they lahate lahati v'umakti. And nobody understands exactly what this line means, but what it approximately means is that Baboker just teaches you should do it early in the morning. And why? And it says here, Baboker, Beitivos and Rosiak Tirana. It's going to tell us that theoretically, Mitoraiso, though we don't do it, one guy could do the candles and the Ketores together. Why don't we? So says Rabbi Yochanan, the reason is Lasos Pumpi Badover to make it public, right? So really, Mitoraiso, one Oive could do both, but Mitorabbanan required 2. And Baboker just tells you that the same guy does it early in the morning. Okay? The second bite, who does the Shchita, Mizorik, who does the Zrika, Mimidashis, Abem, Mizbeach, HaPnimi, who does the cleaning of the inner Mizbeach, Mimidashis Menorah, who cleans the inner Menorah, Nimale, Vorim Makevish, who brings the limbs to the ramp, Harosh, the head, Varegel, and the leg, Rushtei Yadayim, the 2 forelegs, Oketz, the tail section, Varegel, and the foot, and Chozeh, the chest, Vagera, the neck, Rushtei Anfanos, the 2 rib cages, Vakirbayim, the intestines, Vasoles, the flour, the Chavitim, the pancakes, Vayayin, and the wine. The Gimel Kohanim Zochim, about 30 Kohanim altogether. Or Menazeh Ibn Rabbi Akiva Mashem Rabbi Yeshua Keder Chilucho Haya Kore. They would sacrifice it the way it walked, meaning in the limbs would go up in the order that the animal would walk. How do you know you gotta clean the inner mizbeach? How do you know there's such a thing? This is right, but also Sherry said Vishlich also etzam mizbeach kedma. It says you should cast it, whatever it is, etzam mizbeach kedma. Well, actually, we know what this is. It is the innards of the chickens. The gizzards of the chickens they used to cut out, but not chickens, whatever the birds were, the doves. They used to cut them out and not put them on the mizbeach. The chicken, the birds eat minageso. They steal what they eat, so therefore we don't want their stomachs to go on the mizbeach. So they toss the stomachs on the place where they put the deshen. That's where they toss it. So the shlichot saitzim mizbeach, they should toss it by the mizbeach. Kedma to the east, al makom adeshin to the place where the ash goes. Ain't a Torah. This pasuk is unnecessary. If to tell you where you're going to toss the gizzards, it says by the mizbeach toss it. And if the teacher is supposed to be on the east side of the ramp, so then it says kedma. So what does it mean? What does it mean? El Makom Adesha. Obviously, we know it's on the east side, by the mizbeach. So what I need to also Makom Adesha. Avudarash Eitzam Mizbeach. So before we get let me learn what a carbonator. Avudarash Eitzam Mizbeach. In other words, if you want to learn on Chumas Mizbeach, which is on the from the outer mizbeach, so already know that the regular deshen goes on the east side of mizbeach, kein moetzah mizbeach. Rather, so what is this makom hadeshen going to tell us in this pasuk? So it's going to tell us that there's another deshen which goes there. What's the other deshen which goes there besides the ash of the outer mizbeach? Also the ash of the inner mizbeach. Okay. So basically, what we're saying is the words el makom hadeshen are superfluous. The reason why they're written must be in order to tell you where the ash of the inner mizbeach goes in the same place as the ash of the outer mizbeach, in the same place as you're putting the chicken gizzards. Okay? So it says the Gemara, Makam Mizrach Shel Kevesh, and we say, Makan Mizrach Shel Kevesh, Avkan Mizrach Shel Kevesh. So we say that just like the regular place is Eitzim Mizbeach, this place is also Eitzim Mizbeach, and it's like the other regular place was the east of the Kevesh. It's also the east of Kevesh, and we say that the Makom Hadeshen is superfluous. So I must be teaching us that Makom Hadeshen is another deshen which goes there besides the deshen Mizbeach Chita. It's also the deshen of the inner Mizbeach. How do we know that the deshen which is taken off the inner Mizbeach is also behana, not to derive any benefit from it? So the Rabbi B'Shem Rabbi said, Makom Tahar. It says about all the deshen which is taken off the mizbeach that it goes to a makom tar outside Yerushalmi. So why does it have to go to a makom tar outside Yerushalmi? Who cares? So it must be that deshen still has a din me'ilah. Why? Because if it has to be put in a tar place, it must be it's also a din kedusha. So it's a din kedusha, it must have a din me'ilah. Because otherwise there'd be no point in putting it specifically a dark place. Who cares? If its mitzvah is completed and the ray no longer has me'ilah attached to it, so therefore why can we put it for? Rather, where can we put it? So therefore it must be that even the deshen still has a din me'ilah attached to it, which is interesting because normally we say once something is burnt, it's not the same substance anymore, there's no din me'ilah on it. But here, since there was a mitzvah done with the ash itself, like the ash itself was taken out as Trumas Hadeshen, so then it retains its halacha of me'ilah on the ashes as ashes, not ashes as remains of the original carbon. That's over and done with, but that on ashes is ashes.
I don't recall this.
I don't recall this at all. No, none of this. Rabbi Zira B'Shem Rabbi Lezer said, Lo Amru Kain, They didn't say this, or they didn't say it in this version rather than the following version. How do we know that the dishun of the mizbeach hachitzon, that the stuff which they took out of the stuff they took out of the outer mizbeach, the gas took out of the outer mizbeach hosbana, tavlor mokum adeshin. You should put in place of the deshin, which we darshan shem koim al it should always be there, meaning it doesn't have any benefit, any purpose, other than being ash, and anybody use it is transgressive or not. I know that addition of mizbeach hapnimi. How do we know there's such a mitzvah that you have to take it off? So it says v'zalav v'ktir. It says on Yom Kippur you sprinkle the blood on the inner mizbeach, and you also do the ktorah on the inner mizbeach. And that's an interesting parallel, an interesting juxtaposition. What's the juxtaposition? Ma'azoya begufo, just like when you sprinkle on the actual mizbeach, Ktorah, so to the place of Ktorah, it has to be begufo shel mizbeach, has to be on the actual mizbeach, and you can't be in the actual mizbeach if you never remove the ash. So therefore, it must be that the ashes are continuously or perennially removed every day. And how do we know that the ash which comes out the inner mizbeach is also b'anoah? So it says the Gemara, kavachomer, has to be. If the outer mizbeach is also b'hanoah, and it's not so kadosh, right? Chapnimi lo koshke. Is the pnimi is certainly should be also b'hanoah, right? Because it's more kadosh, right? So therefore, if the deshin, if the outer one is also, certainly the deshin of the inner one is also. Said Ketoris shekavos. However, there's a shtickle kula here. Ketoris which it got extinguished. Humima. It's like a baal mum. I feel even in the crystals. Meaning, the chiddush here is let me read one more line. Shein ksiv ochlo el mizbeach. It only says consumed on the outer mizbeach. It's interesting, by the outer mizbeach. By the outer mizbeach, in order for something put on the mizbeach to be considered ois hekdesh, it's got to be, or ois have its mitzvah be considered performed. It's got to actually be consumed by fire, because it says the asher tochalo eish. The fire's got to consume it, a majority of a limb, majority of a particle, but the majority to be consumed. But the K'tores, there can even be whole crystals left intact and not burnt, because the mitzvah is not to see it consumed, but rather that it should be placed on the K'torah, inner mizbeach, and that there should be a fragrance which went up to Shemayim, right? And therefore we're saying that it's not like the mizbeach hachitzon. Mizbeach hachitzon, once it's burnt, it's considered to be consumed. Mizbeach hapnimi, once some of it is burnt, even though the crystals left, it's as if everything became a baal mum. See the parallel being drawn to baal mum, meaning it has to be consumed, but it's lost its status as kodesh because the crystals have, even if the crystals are whole, because it already has served its purpose, which is to create the incense. Okay.
Why the analogy of baal mum rather than just saying rubo kulo?
Who said it's even rubo? Yeah, because by korbanos, they don't say rove of each aver has to be burned. Here, the crystals which are not even touched, and yet nonetheless they're considered the mitzvah to be done. Okay. Psila shekava, the wick of the menorah which got extinguished, three chadishim. It's got to be removed. It's got to be cleaned out. It says more ma, which means here how. That's more miyat, which means here with one hand. It says more very pertinent insight. Talmidei de Rabbi Chia bar Ulaine said, more me'atol, if that's the case, let us say now, tzarich she'er meitzan, you gotta wait till it cools down, so you're medashing it. Cause guess what'll happen, you're medashing it while it's still hot with your fingers. Okay, so you wait till it cools down. Shemen ma'ushe tzarich dishu. That's a very interesting question. Oil. You left it in menorah. Can you leave it there till next night, or you have to actually clean it out? The oil which is left over from the previous day.
It's machlokas, isn't it?
Do you remember such machlokas? I don't remember any of this from the Bible. None of the things.
Not Bavli.
No, I don't remember it from anywhere. Nothing. Nothing in this whole plot. You're right, though. It says menachos here about the psila at least, but I don't remember anything like this. But who knows? It's all kachim, so I don't know if it's my weak point. So in any event, saying the kachim is your strong point, although it's not people. So we wanted to say for Shmuel Rabbi Yitzchak, excuse me, there's indication oil requires dishu. What's that? Rabbi Yitzchak boy, Rabbi Yitzchak asked, this is more which is put down probably. Boy Miato, it says at the beginning of Tekupas Tevis, which was the shortest days of the year, the beginning first days of winter, Mechatzi log l'chol ner, you're going to put a half a log in each candle. Be'echad Tekupas Tammuz, the beginning of the summer, which is the longest days of the year, Mechatzi l'chol ner, also you put a half a log in each candle, because that's what it says, you always half a log. So his problem is, how could that be? It's either going to be too little in the summer or too much in the winter. Now the Gemara says, if there was no halacha of dishun, that you didn't have to clean out the oil every day, so what's the problem? You always refill whatever's empty, and when we could leave whatever's still there. So what's bothering him? Right? He's asking a question that the rate of burning is not going to be proper. So what's bothering him? We're just constantly replenishing anyway. So it must be whenever the morning comes, you have to clean out entirely the old oil. So Amir said, no. Amir said, "In min adol leis hashma min klum." While for there, you don't cancel out anything. The Tilchama we learned over there. Ben Babi al Bakia. Ben Babi was in charge of the strings. Shermizayas of Psilas used to make the wicks, and he used to custom make them. So therefore, it could be that you don't require the issue. In other words, I should put it like this: that what sounded like Shmuel Yitzchak was bothered. It's not going to be equivalent to the rate of burning actually means the same, but sometimes you're going to have more oil left, sometimes less oil left. So we should have given him 8. So he should have said, "Oh, I know. You know what? We just won't be medashin the oil. We'll leave it there, and whatever needs replenishing will replenish. Whatever doesn't, depending on the time of year." So Moshe says, since he doesn't give that answer, so it must be holds you can't. You must do dishu, right? You can't just leave it and replenish it. So then the Moshe says, no. The truth is, anyway, there was another eitzah. In other words, he didn't say just leave the oil in because he didn't have to. Because he came over with a better idea. Because that Ben Babi was in charge of the wicks, would make custom wicks in the winter which were thinner, and in the summer which were thicker. So that's how we took care of the problem of the oil, there not being excess oil in the menorah. So the truth is, he could have held that you leave the oil in, and you just replenish. But he didn't have to hold that way because he had a better eitzah, which is to tell us that the wicks changed in size throughout the course of the year. Now, let's talk about Talmud Shubein Rabbaim. Here, meaning in Masechta Yuma, it says first you put up the candles, then you do the Ketores. But by Masechta Tamid Atomar, you say Makdir Chakameki, you do the Ketores and then the candles. So how do we solve the contradiction? So first we want to say Rabbi Yochanan said Tamid Masechta Tamid Rabbi Shimon Isha Mitzvah. That was written by Rabbi Shimon Isha Mitzvah. So we're not responsible for him. He had different views in the Rabbanan. On Rabbi Yaakov Bar Acha below Kula, you should know not all of Talmud Rabbi Shimon Isha Mitzvah. Elamila Tzrichel Rabbanan, certain words which are difficult according to the rabbis, we say they're going to according to Rabbi Shimon Isha Mitzvah. Ravo said, Midos Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Similarly, Mesechta Midos was authored by Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Not all of it, Rabbanah words which the Rabbanah would have difficulty with. My time, Rabbi Yerushalmi Yuma. What's Lazar Shimni Shamitbo says that first you do the Nerois and then the Ktoires. So the logic is Baboker Beiti. Sorry, first you do the first you do the Neros. First you do the Neros and then the Ktoires. That's right. My time of Shimon Isha Mitzvah. Baboker Beitivos and Neros Yaktarena. First you do Neros and Ktoires. It says when you light the candles. When you do the candles, then you do the Ktoires. So first the Neros and then Ktoires. Rebbe said, Tam the Rabbanan who argue what's their point of view. It says Michutz Parochus Haidus Boel Moed Yarochus Aaron Banav beyond the curtain of the testimony in the Kodesh. Excuse me, Aaron's children should arrange the candles Me'erev HaBoker, from night to morning. So that means the last thing at night should be the candles, and the first thing in the morning should be the candles. That's the last thing in the Erev, and the first thing in the Boker, right? Shelo Yesham Ela HaTovas Nirzavad. The last thing should be the HaTovas. The Shaitar says so, changes it to Adlakas. It's the same idea. Sometimes Atova means Adlaka, but it means here that Rabbanan learned that Torah preceded the candles because the candles were the last avodah of the day. They defined as bookends, so to speak, the end of the previous day and the beginning of the next day. Okay. Rabbi Yochanan said, "We'll couple Tavit to pay to Pais and Tom Shemen Rabbaim." The Tom Shemen Rabbaim had no separate lottery. Alama they said, "Mishazach b'shachris." Whoever got the morning, Yizke bein Rabbaim, he'll get in the afternoon. What about the following Brisa? What Tanya didn't we learn? Kipayah shel shachris came payah shel bein Rabbaim. So there's a lottery at both. Just like the lottery in the morning, so too you have a lottery in the afternoon, right? Not actually a lottery, but you know, any, mini, miny, mo. And now Zoich Latzmo, whoever married gets it for himself. So Rechis of Shem Rabbi Boom Barakana said he Potter say Shois HaShabbos. It's all about Shabbos. Why? Because what happened on Shabbos? You need to do two payosos. Before the Gemara tells us what happened on Shabbos. Why would you separate payos in the morning, separate payos in the afternoon? On Shabbos specifically.
What's the Kahanim, the whatever it is.
It's a new mishmar. So the payos in the morning won't help you in the afternoon because the new Kohanim will come in, changing of the guard, right? Okay. Should have known that, guys. What?
They just couldn't get it out.
That's right. Oh, no, you got credit for it. Yeah. The other people filled it out. Okay. You category for it. Lokozo Shnei Gezir and Shachris. Interesting language. Lokozo usually means it didn't make a takona against, but here it means it didn't make a takona on. I think it's used the word gozo even though you should be tiknu, because of the play on words. Lokozo al Shnei Gezir. Get it? You know, right? So it means they didn't make a takona to have a lottery on the two pieces of wood. The two pieces of wood are supposed to be put on the mizbeach every morning as a symbolic completion of the fire. There was no lottery on that because it was given to whoever was in charge of the Truma Sedeshin. Rabbi Yisrael said, "Masniso Amakei." The Brisa which indicates this, it says, "The Chol Yom." The word "ayil" actually is not a Brisa. It's the Mishnah later on base. Rabbi Yisrael said, "Masniso Amakei b'Chol Yom." The word "ayil" is incorrect. It's out of place. B'Chol Yom it should be the Tamid. It's Korei Ben Arbaim. The sacrifice in the afternoon b'Chadasar with 11. And it says in that Mishnah on Amud Beis, which we'll see, that two of those 11, as opposed to 9 in the morning, were holding the Shnei Gzirei Eitzim, holding the two logs of wood. So it's mashma only in the afternoon that become part and parcel of the pious procedure. In the morning, we didn't make it part of the pious procedure because there were only 9 Kohanim, So it must be the same guy who did the Trumas Hadesh and did those things. Okay? Rabbi Sim boy, the Lama Lo goes through. Al Shnei Gzirim B'Shachris. Why didn't they make a takona? The Shnei Gzirim in the morning should be part of a pious. So it says the Gemara, Amray Mana V'Lo Shmir, Rabbi Simi. Didn't you hear Rabbi Mana here? Didn't Rabbi Simi hear the Mar Rabbi Yochanan, which Rabbi Yochanan said, look, goes through Shnei Gzirim B'Shachris? They didn't make a takona of a pious on the two Gzirim B'Shachris? Well, Rabbi Yochanan said, as we just learned, Nisin Omra Kei. That our Mishnah teaches us that. It says only you have newer than two climbing, holding it two Gzirets and 9 in the morning. So he changed his mind and said, Dushmil. Of course he heard this. Elok Inish Dushmil, but he was like somebody who hears something. Umakshilon, Efrek Takash of them. He asked a question of what he was asking. Why it is the way it is? See me boy, where he was asking, he knew that the two Gzirim in the morning are part of the Trumas Hadesh. But he was asking why it's like that, and he used to say this being the Yerushalmi, he never got an answer. Okay? Now, your Gimel Zach, this is messed up here. Your Gimel Zachim Bo, no, not yet, a minute. 30 people are involved in the Talmud. The Thailand we learned about this Pamim are Bosser, sometimes 40, Pamim times 12, sometimes 15, Pamim times 9, sometimes 16, Lo Pachas, Lo Yoser, no more, no less. Now here it gets messed up. Look at the carbon Ada, he changed the Girsa. In the fifth line down in the widest line of the carbon Ada. In the carbon Ada. No, that's a Pamim. Fifth line down says, Hey Gimel, Hachi Garcina. Got it? There you go. You give us the last word of the line. Hachi Garcina. Kedarko B'Yud Gimel. I want you guys to know, by the way, Mr. Zuger comes to every class I give now in the course of the day. You used to have the record. And now he comes to everyone. Which is the most interesting?
It depends. This is the hardest because of the translation. The afternoon is good. But the morning, but they can't get it.
Okay. Maybe it's like keeping Dr. Spindell ahead of the game. 2-2. Alright, let's see. Kedarko B'Yukimo. I'm getting read the Carbonata. The normal Korban Talmud was 13. It was the Talmud itself, and then the 4 people who brought 4 extra things. I forget what they are, the Chavitin and so we're going to learn about it when we get to them in base. Knew I was going to bring it down there. But in any event, the Chag on the Chavitin and the Sachim, the Minchas Solis, and there was one other thing I forget what it was. The Chag in Sachim Minchas Solis. What was the 4th thing? 9 people held parts of the carbon, and then there were 4 more. Right, but Kedarko B'Gimel. The Chag on Sukkot beyond Echad Tzol Shemaim, one of them was holding a bucket of water. That's Harei also. That's 14. Ben Rabani Avnum to 12 is 15. Kushnayim B'Yom Shtei Gzeretz. We have to count the 2 logs. B'Shabbat it should be Shabbos was Tesvav as well. It's 15 as well. Shnayim B'Yom Shtei B'Zich Levon Shlech Aponim. Only the 2 pitchers which contain the frankincense Shlech Aponim. B'Shabbat so the Chag. And the Shabbos Sukkot beyond Echad Tzol Shemaim. Some is holding the water. Harei Tezayin, that's 16 altogether. Now back to the Gemara. This last line now. Tiviano. Okay, so that was how they used to bring it every day. Tiviano, his name was son. We say Tiviano. You bring the chavitin, the pancakes. Chavitin says Tiviano. Livnei Musamin is mostly brought before the Musafin. Why have we learned that out? Because it says to Vienna, it sounds like it's immediate, right? So well, it's hard for me to understand exactly how Drush, but to Vienna means bring it ASAP. So you bring the chavitim right after, right before the Nesachim. Ukshomer takriv ab la'achar Nesachim. However, when it says takriv, when it says takriv, you should bring the chavitim to, it says the word takriv, which means it sounds like later and not so imminently. So it means it brings the chavitim after the Nesachim. Now, those who learn kohen Nesachim, that the chavitim come prior to the Nesachim, not after the Nesachim. So it's not a machlokas. Man kohen Nesachim, he who says that the chavitim come before the Nesachim, that's called nitzchei before you bring the libations of the wine. Because wine would come after the chavitim because it doesn't really go on the mizbeach. It goes down the hatch, so to speak, but not on the mizbeach. So it's not as significant, right? Whereas man malach and Nesachim, where he says it's after the Nesachim, that's also not referring to the niskei yai. It's referring to the nachan niskei solas. So what we have here is solas kodemis l'chavitim. The minchas solas comes before the chavitim. That's what we learn from the word takriv. Afal pishin zelishim, even though they both go on top of the fire. Zeh korban yochid and zeh korban tzibur. One is a korban yochid and one is a korban tzibur. So meaning Kohen Gadol's kavitin, the pancakes, albeit they're bought by any Kohen and they're part of the avodah of the day affairs. But the bottom line is it's Kohen Gadol's personal korban, right? Whereas the minchas solas brought with the Talmud was part of the Talmud, which is the korban tzibur. So therefore, the minchas Talmud should always precede the chavit. Okay, is that clear? Not the wine. The wine is separate, but the mincha, which is nesachim, always should come before the chavit. Why is no? They're both targeted. They're both every day.
The pancakes too.
Yeah, twice a day too. Half in the evening, half in the morning. Okay. Chavitin koymin lebazichin. Chavitin, however, come prior to the bazichin, the frankincense, which came off lechem aponim on Shabbos. Apple beach is there, carbon tzibur. Even though chavitim are carbon of an individual and the bazichin are carbon tzibur, zeh tadir v'zeino tadir. Here's tadir v'zeino tadir, tadir koyim, because the chavitim every day and the bazichin only on Shabbos. Okay. Chavitim koyim liyayin. Chavitim come before the wine. Shazel yishim, because the chavitim go on the fire. Shazel's flame, the wine goes on down spill holes, drain holes on the side of mizbeach. Bazichim yayin. Now with trials like this, when you have the bazichin of the frankincense, lechem aponim, and the wine mikoidim. The one hand, if one hand he said tadir b'sheino tadir kodim, so of course the wine comes first because that's every day. The bazichin are only on Shabbos. On the other hand, if you go by whatever gets to the top of the mizbeach, so the bazichin gets to the top of the mizbeach, the wine does not, right? So it says the Gemara, the Lomas Nisai isn't in the Mishnah which says Levoina Yain, which says Levona, which is frankincense, precedes wine. So it's more no, that price which you just brought down, so about carbon of an individual. When an individual brings as a voluntary offering, Levona or wine, frankincense and wine actually, so there you bring the frankincense prior to the wine. However, our question is carbon tzibur. What about in our case where the wine is for a carbon tzibur? Well, both the wine and the menachos are carbon tzibur. But so since the wine is a carbon tzibur, maybe it precedes the bezach, right? Because the bzachim are also carbon tzibur. There's a carbon tzibur. So who says which carbon tzibur comes first? So kini masnis, we don't answer the question. Kini masnis. This is where to read our Mishnah. Harosh v'regel, the head, then the foot, then v'chose v'agera, then the chose, the chest, v'agera, and the neck, v'shtei yadayim in the two hands, v'shtei raglayim, tfanos, and the rib cage, oketz, the tail, v'regel, and the other hind leg. So that's not the order of our Mishnah, it's a different order. Rabbi Yochanan said, yes, that's nice, but that's not the reason of our Mishnah. Time Ben Azai says that you go in order, in other words, that the carbon goes up the ramp the same way it would have walked where it's still alive. Put the entire ram on the Mizbeach. How it's already dissected, how can you call the entire ram? So make believe, so it should be looked as if it's walking up on top of his back. Says Mar Rosh Regel Vatamar. Wait a minute. It said you go by the order, it works. But you're putting up the head with the regel first. It's not in the order which it works. Rosh should be separate, and the regel should be separate. As Ramana Pashat Rosh Okar Ragla. The reason why we say is that the Rosh goes with the regel, because actually the Rosh moves first. When an animal's about to move, it lifts its head and then it strides with its foot. So that's how the Rosh and regel go together. You always take the head with the right foreleg. Now the truth is that the Bavli doesn't bring this down. The Bavli, I think, says Zeres HaKosov, that the Rosh and the Regel go together. I forget which pasuk he uses. He uses a pasuk by Yikra teaches that head and leg go together. But the Yerushalmi is looking without that pasuk, saying the head, when the animal wants to move, first it jerks its head and then it moves along. So it's only actually Mitzvara, not from Zeres HaKosov. Okay? Not a big deal. But I remember the Bible went up from Apostle. Hapayis Hashlishi, the third payis was Chadashim L'Ktores. I don't know if we're going to finish one slide today. Chadashim L'Ktores, those who are new to L'Ktores Bova, Apisu come and make a payis. The Revi, though the fourth payis is Chadashim Yishadik, go back to even people who already did this, they can repeat. Mima Alem Min Evorim Min HaKevesh, who could take the limbs from the Kevesh to Mizbeach. A person never participated in a live Torahs and won and participated again. Rabbi Yisrael said, Masisa Amra Kain. Our Mishnah is not like this. Our Mishnah is like this. It says, Chadosh in the Torah's Bovavi, so new guys only would come and make the price. Amra Chira said, the truth is that not just the pious itself would make a person rich, but also the shovel. Even though there was no actual pious of the shovel, but the guy to the right of the person who did the Ktoris did the shovel as well, right? But nonetheless, I don't know why I said as well. The guy to the right of the guy who does the Ktoris does the shovel. But nonetheless, he also gets rich. And this is an interesting thing of ramification. I mean, it's not big halacha ma'aseh, but for Hagman Glila. Because Glila is really even the way the Ashkenazim do it, which is much more chashuv than the way Musachari does it. It's still only a sniff, a subdivision of Hakma. But one could say that just like the Machta helps the guy who does it get rich, not just the guy who does the actual Ktoris, so too Glila is beneficial enough for making rich, but it's a beneficial keyboard as well. Okay, I know you're not too impressed by that, sorry. Says more further. So anyway, he also got rich. So you've come out that two Kohanim were blessed each time they did the Ktoros. Bless HaKadosh Baruch Hu their activities. Upol the tears and the handiwork of their hand you should desire. That's how we learn out that it's a bracha of Ashiras. Now it's also a bracha of physical health. Maisa be'echod sheyov sheyizro is a guy who had a chronic problem that his arm shriveled up and he couldn't really do the Ktoros properly. So they said, Yankov, let us do the Ktoros, even though you won the pies. Lo nicho, he wouldn't let them. Because he wanted to be filled. Barech Hashem chelo, HaKadosh Baruch Hu bless your strength, and the activity, your handiwork you should desire. Meaning he wanted HaKadosh Baruch Hu to bless him not just the spiritual wealth, not just the physical wealth of riches, rather to bless him in the realm of health as well. Okay, Rabbi Sai, I know it's too early to let you go. I'm really sorry to do this, but this is all I prepared to. I know you have great charot to leave 10 minutes early, but
interesting what the Gemara does.